Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to this video. My name is Liaquat. This is my YouTube channel, Roots of Knowledge. This series is for those of you guys who want to understand Hanafi Fiqh. We're going through the book Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. We've actually done about over 180 lessons now. And I can't remember, is this the 183rd lesson or second lesson? But you'll see, inshallah. So, if you guys are not following me, make sure you follow, make sure you hit the like button so that you get all the latest updates, inshallah. So let's carry on with this then. So وَإِذَا قَالَ لِلْخَيَّاطِ خَيَّاطِ, this is a tailor. Okay, so a tailor, someone who sews clothes. خِطَّة, right, so خِطَّة, so it's a bit of a strange word, it's like خِطَّة, so anyway, the tajweed, you guys can look at how to pronounce this. هذا الثوب. Thawb is a cloth. Farsiyan, this is a Persian style cloth. And خِطَّهُ Rumiyan, it's a Roman style. Dirhamain, 2 dirhams. Amalain, 2 amals, two works, 2 jobs. Istahaqat, entitled, deserved. Ujra, fi. خِطَّهُ اليوم. Okay, so خِطَّهُ is to sew. اليوم is today. Half a dirham. So all these words are words I think you're very familiar with. خَاطَ is the verb. Yeah, خَاطَهُ. And then شرطان is 2 times 2 shart, 2 conditions. جائزتان, both jaiz. أيهما, whichever. استحق الأجرة. وإن قال إن سكنت, سكن, you suck in the skin, it means to make reside, to make someone reside. في هذا الدكان, dukan is like a shop. عطارا, it can be a perfume seller or a medicine man, so we're going to put perfume. In fact, attar was originally used for someone who used to actually deal with perfume as well. So فبدرهم شهر سكنته. حدادا is a blacksmith. جاز الأمرين. مسمى is the stipulated. Ijara is leasing. Fasida is defective. And then aqad is contract. See, a lot of these words, you should be familiar with them by now anyway. I shouldn't have to repeat these words. Sahih, and then baqiya is remaining, left over. Jumla, the total summation. Ma'luma, known. Thani, second. Sahha is valid. Lazima is to become lazim. ولم يكن للموجر أن يخرج وأخرج, يخرج to take out, to expel, to take out. ينقضي to end. حكم كل شهر. Okay, that's it. So all these words, again, I don't need to go through them because they're very, very straightforward. I'm sure many of you guys are thinking, this is just too easy. Yeah, this is too easy. He doesn't even have to go through all of this for us. Am I right? Well, I'm not. وإذا قال الخياط جار مجرور. خطة, right, so فعل. خطة. هذا الثوب مفعول به فارسيا is it can be حال, it can either be حال. I'm not sure. Can we make it the second maf'ul? خطة, does it have a second maf'ul? Okay, I think it's حال. فبدرهم وإن خطه روميا حال. فبدرهمين. فجاز في الفاعل. وأي العملين عمل, أو أي العملين. وأي العملين عمل. أي العملين عمل. استحق مفعول به مقدم. الأجرة. وإن قال إن خطه اليوم فبدرهم. وإن خطه غدا, so اليوم is the مفعول فيه, غدا is the مفعول فيه. فبالنصف درهم جار مجرور مضاف مضاف إليه. خاطه اليوم مفعول فيه. فله درهم, so درهم مبتدأ مؤخر. وإن خاطه غدا is مفعول به مفعول فيه غدا. فله أجرة مثله. عند أبي حنيفة غير منصرف. ولا يتجاوز به نصف درهم. What صيغة is يتجاوز? What bab is this from in Sarf? وقال أبو يوسف ومحمد الشرطان مبتدأ جائزان خبر. Yeah, خبر. Actually should be الشرطان جائزة, not جائزان. Shouldn't be a ta there. Tell me why. وأيهما عمل وأيهما عمل استحق الأجرة مفعول فيه مفعول به. وإن قال إن سكنت في هذا الدكان عطارا. Yeah, so this is the مفعول به. فبدرهم في الشهر. Then it goes حدادا سكنت حدادا. Again مفعول به فبدرهمين جاز. وأي الأمرين فعل استحق المسمى فيه عند أبي حنيفة. وقال أبو يوسف ومحمد الإجارة فاسدة مبتدأ خبر. ومن استأجر دارا فعل فاعل مفعول به. كل شهر so استأجر كل شهر بدرهم مفعول فيه بدرهم. فالعقد مبتدأ صحيح خبر في شهر واحد موصوف صفة فاسد. then second خبر so خبر أول خبر ثاني في بقية الشهور إلا أن يسمي. This can be يسمي or يسمى. يسمي or it can be يسمى. جملة الشهور معلومة. فإن سكن أو سكن فإن سكن ساعة من الشهر الثاني صح جزاء. العقد في الفاعل فيه ولازمه ذلك الشهر is the فاعل of لازمة. ولم يكن للموجر أن يخرجه منها إلى أن ينقضي. وكذلك حكم كل شهر يسكن في أوله يوما أو ساعة. Okay, so again, both of these are going to be مفعول فيه. Alright, so let's have a look at trying to explain this now. Let's see if we can. Do you think we can explain this, inshallah? You ready? Okay, so let's have a try. إذا قال الخياط. So let's say, for example, there is a tailor. I'm going to call this tailor Mr. T. Mr. T, the tailor, you've gone to the Mr. T tailor and you've said to the Mr. T tailor, right, I've got two options for you. Option number one and option number two. I'm going to give you this cloth. Okay, this is the cloth. If you sew this cloth for me Persian style, a Persian design jacket, then I'll give you 1 dirham. And if you sew it for me but a different style, a Roman style, which is more intricate, I will give you 2. So here's a cloth, okay, and he wants basically the tailor, Mr. Tailor, to sew this into a, I don't know, I have no idea what the Persian design is, nor do I have an idea what the Roman design is. I'm just going to write P for Persian and R for Roman, okay? So that was the deal that was. So in reality, there's only one thing that he wants him to do. He just wants him to make a thobe for him. That's all he wants, a thobe, yeah? And he's given him 2 options, okay? So the 2 options are totally permissible. Whichever one that he takes, that's basically what he's going to do, right? So what happens in this situation? So he says, وَإِذَا قَالَ الْخَيَّاطِ, and when he says to a tailor, إِنْ خِدْتَ هَذَا الثَّوْبَ فَارِسِيًّا, if you were to sew this clothing in a Farsi style, Persian style, فَبِدِرْهَمٍ, then it's going to be for a dirham, meaning I'll give you a dirham. وَإِنْ خِدْتَهُ رُومِيًّا, and if you were to sew it in a Roman style, I'll give you two coins. Now technically, this is kind of like a bit strange, isn't it? It's like, is there a bit of ambiguity here? Is there a bit of gharar here? Yeah? Like, is there a bit of like confusion here about in the end what they're going to get? So this is why some of the scholars, like for example, Zufar and others, they actually say not allowed. This is not allowed because you're not being specific in what you want. You can't do this with 10. If you gave him 10 options, you can't do this with 10. You can't say to him, oh, whichever one of these you sew, I'll give you this much for number 1, this much for number 2, this much for number 3. If you leave it like that, you are leaving it in a defective state. However, Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah and Abu Yusuf Muhammad, they've said this is jaiz because this can be tolerated. Meaning the ambiguity here, you can almost say like the unknown here is something which is tolerated. If he was to sew it Persian, he's willing to give one dirham. And if he sews it Roman style, he's given to 2. That's fine, not really going to lead to an argument. That's why he says, فَبِدِرْهَمَيْنِ جَازَ, it's permissible, وَأَيُّ الْعَمَلَيْنِ عَمِلَ, whichever of the 2 he does, meaning Persian style or Roman style, إِسْتَحَقَّ الْأُجْرَةَ, he deserves, the tailor deserves one of the 2. That is jaiz according to majority of the Hanafis, okay? Which one is problematic? The next one is going to be problematic now. Right. If, however, he was to say the same thing, but I'll just put this like a line over here just so that it's a different masala, okay? For 1 and 2. If you were to get it done by today, so the clothing is not different, it's actually the same design. The design is one. So I'll just put like, let's say for example, this is the same design. It's got some buttons there. Oh, should I become a designer? Clothes designer, Liaquat Zaman's brand, yeah? So you do it today, you get 1 dirham. You do it by tomorrow, I'm going to drop it to half a dirham. But the clothing is the same one, there's no difference in there. Is this considered to be allowed or is this not allowed? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah says, let me just write this in then. So AH, he says, this one is allowed and this one is not allowed. Whereas them two, Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, they say both are allowed. Okay, so they're saying both are allowed, and he's saying only the first one is allowed, the second one is not allowed. In fact, in the second one, what he gets, he's going to get something which is like the market rate. You call this ajrul mithl. Because the contract is not allowed, it goes back to how much work he done. So in the market, whatever this person would get for making something like this in a day or 2 days, that's the market rate you're going to give him. And you can't go above no more than the price stipulated. So you can't go no more than half. So remember, Imam Zufar does not allow any of these. He's like saying, right, none of these are allowed because why are you not agreeing on a specific contract? Why are you coming out with 2 things or 2 options? Imam Hanifa rahimahullah saying is the first one is jaiz, it goes through. Second one does not go through, but it's defective, as in it goes through but defective style. But you have to give the market value of whatever the guy deserves in the market if someone was to ask them to make this particular design. And it can't go more than half because that was what he stipulated. Right? Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, they say totally jaiz. All these are jaiz. Make sense? Alright, mashallah. You guys understanding it quick. وَإِنْ قَالَ, now if this guy was to say, إِنْ خِدْتَهُ الْيَوْمِ, if you were to sew it today, فَبِدِرْهَمْ, I'll give you a dirham. وَإِنْ خِدْتَهُ غَدًا, but if you were to do it tomorrow, then I will give you half, nisf dirham. فَإِنْ خَاتَهُ, so if he was to do it today, فَلَهُ dirham, he gets a dirham. وَإِنْ خَاتَهُ غَدًا, if he does it tomorrow, does he get half? No, فَلَهُ أَجْرُ مِثْلِهِ, he gets the market rate. In the Abi Hanifata, وَلَا يَتَجَاوَزْ, and that market rate must not go beyond half a dirham because that was what was stipulated. You're not going to go above that. Okay, so وَلَا يَتَجَاوَزْ بِهِ نِصْفَ dirham. That is what they say. Now Abu Yusuf and Muhammad on the other hand, they say وَقَالَ Abu Yusuf and Muhammad الشَّرْطَانِ جَائِزَانِ, the 2 sharts are considered to be jaiz. الشَّرْطَانِ جَائِزَانِ, meaning today or tomorrow. Because he used the word in, it's a shart, isn't it? So both of these are considered to be jaiz. وَأَيَّهُمَا عَمِلَ, and whichever one he does, so he does it today, he does tomorrow, أَيَّهُمَا, whichever one, إِسْتَحَقَّ الْأُجْرَةَ, he deserves the fee that was stipulated. Meaning, it doesn't fall under ijara fasida. Does that make sense? So let's just summarize this again. It's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? If there's this guy and he goes to the tailor and he says to the tailor, if you sew me this particular cloth and you make it into a Persian design, it doesn't matter how long you take, you make it into a Persian design, I will give you 1 dirham. But if you make it into a Roman design, I'll give you 2 dirhams for it. Both of them are jaiz according to Abu Hanifa and Sahibain. However, if he was to say, if you sew this particular one design for me today, I'll give you 1 dirham. You do it by tomorrow, I'll give you half a dirham, less. Abu Hanifa says the first one is jaiz, second one is not jaiz. Sahibain say both are jaiz. Now why is this, they say it's jaiz? This is a bit of a technical issue. I don't want to go into it too much, but I just want a little bit, feed you little morsels in your mouth. It's because according to Imam Abu Hanifa, there's a rule in Bayt, which is you can't stipulate, or in Ijara, you can't stipulate to someone an action and a timing as well. Yeah, you can't stipulate an action and a time. So he says technically both should not be allowed, because you're stipulating that you want this to be made, and on top of that, you want it to be done at a certain time. Yeah, so in other words, remember, if you remember, there's 2 types of ijara on there. Yeah, let's just write this over here. Ijara. There's ajir mushtarak and there's ajir khas. Remember, ajir khas is the one that you basically tell them you got to get it done within this time. Yeah, it's khas. Oh, sorry. Mushtarak is the one that you want the action done. This is where you want the action done, and this is the one you want the timing. That's the easy way to put it. Time and action. So you can't be a khas and mushtarak at the same time. That's basically what it's saying. So why is the first one allowed then? Because you've said an amal. So if it's an amal, then you're basically mushtarak, isn't it? But then when you have specified it today, then it becomes khas, isn't it? But he says it's not really khas, because the word today actually means ASAP, as quick as possible. So what usually happens in Bayt is, and see this, I'm going to Hidayah now. It becomes more confusing. But if it does become confusing, please let me know, because then I know in the future not to go too deep into these issues. So if a person has a contract and you can actually sort of like change the wording, you can use, instead of the haqiqa meaning, you can use the majaz meaning. Instead of using the literal meaning, you can do the figurative meaning. Like by saying today, I don't really mean today, I mean ASAP. So he's saying that's what he seems as though he's saying over here, because we can make that contract jaiz. If you interpret today as ASAP, we can make it jaiz. But tomorrow, you can't interpret tomorrow as delayed. Tomorrow is tomorrow. So when you say, if you do by tomorrow, I'll give you half, you're stipulating amal and you're stipulating time as well. So you're making it into a ajir khas and mushtarak, which you can't. I don't want to go into these details. This is for Hidayah, inshallah, once we go into Hidayah. But honestly, if you study Qudoori and you can understand the reasons why Sahib al-Qudoori brings the masalas that he brings, honestly, Qudoori, you're going to basically have a ladder that you're going to climb up, and Hidayah will become very easy to follow. You follow me? No, you don't follow me? Khair, inshallah. You will understand, inshallah ta'ala. Right, so let's have a go at this one then. Alright, next. وَإِنْ قَالَ إِنْ سَكَّنْتَ. So now if he says to the guy, if he says this, for example, he says, look, so this is the, let's say, for example, customer, this is the landlord, and he's got, let's say, for example, a shop. Yeah, shop for hire. And this is, we're going to call him L, Mr. L. L, landlord. Yeah. So he says, so Mr. L says, look, if you are going to put in this shop someone who's not going to do too much damage to the building, like for example, a perfume seller, right, then I'm going to charge you 1 dirham per month. And if, however, you put into this someone who's possibly going to cause a bit of damage, like for example, a blacksmith, yeah, then I'm going to charge you 2. Yeah. So in other words, depending on who you put in there, that's how much I'm going to charge you. Does that make sense? And can you see now, here is the issue where 2 conditions are being introduced here. So let's see what it says. So we're in qala, and if he says, not him, as in This guy says, In sakanta fi hada dukkan, if you were to put in the shop, reside in the shop, ataran, a perfume seller, فبالدرهم, then I'm going to charge you a dirham fi shahr every month. وإن سكنته حدادا, and if you put a haddad in there, haddad is blacksmith, then I'm going to charge you 2. فبالدرهمين جاز, both are jais, وأي الأمرين فعل, whichever one he does, استحق المسمى, he deserves that fee, فيه عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله. But here, so this is like the flip of the previous one. So Abu Hanifa says this one is jais, this one is jais. Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, they say this one is not jais and this one is not jais. Right, so they say both are not jais. Al-ijara fasida. Yeah, so it's a bit of a ajib one, isn't it? Again, I don't want to go into the details of this, but basically what they're simply saying is that they قال أبو يوسف ومحمد الإجارة فاسدة, because there's 2 things over here and the 2 things are unknown. As in, if you give someone a shop, there's no action, as in you're not charging them for the action, you're charging them just for staying in the shop, isn't it? So therefore now the action that you're telling the perfume selling, that is something which is unknown. You don't know which one he's going to do. And therefore if you don't know which one he's going to do, you're not too sure of what he's going to be paying. So it's like there's too many unknowns in this. Does that make sense? Whereas Abu Hanifa considers it like the Roman and the Persian jubba. Anyway, that's in Hidayah. Leave it till Hidayah, inshallah. Hidayah, you guys will understand better. Let's carry on. وَمَنْ اسْتَأْجَرَ دَارًا كُلَّ شَهْرٍ. Okay, so now if someone was to rent, let's say for example, this is the landlord, this is the house. Now he made an agreement and said that so he said every month, so 1 per month. Yeah, you're going to pay 1 per month. So what happens in this case basically is that the first month will be considered to be jais. So in other words, let's say he stays in there so he stays in there, let's say January, February, March, April, May. The first month this contract will be valid. Okay. And the rest of the months, on the other hand, will all be considered to be fasid. Yeah, these are all fasid. So this one is sahih and the rest are fasid. Now why is this one sahih, the rest fasid? Let's have a look. All right, so he says, Man istajara daran, whoever hires out a house, kulla shahrin bidirhamin, every month for 1 dirham. فَالْأَقْدُ صَحِيحٌ, the aqd is okay for 1 month. The reason being is because he hasn't stipulated how many total months he's going to stay there for. He's just said per month. So if he wants it to be correct, he has to mention 10 months altogether or 2 years altogether, something like that. All right, so the first one is going to be valid. فَاسِدٌ فِي بَقِيَّةِ الشُّهُورِ, and in the remainder it's going to be considered to be fasid. إِلَّا أَن يُسَمِّيَ, unless he stipulates جُمْلَةَ شُهُورٍ مَعْلُومَةٍ, he stipulates how many months he wants to stay in there for. 6 months, a year, 2 years. Okay. Now, so the first month is considered to be sahih. So let's put like the letter sad there. This is sahih. And the rest are fasid. But as soon as the second month starts, this one now becomes sahih. So the rest of the months become sahih as soon as you start them. But before you've started them, they will technically be counted as fasid. So it's a bit of a strange rule there. فَإِن سَكَنَ سَاعَةً مِنَ الشَّهْرِ الثَّانِي, if he stays a small moment in the second month, صَحَّ الْأَقْدُ فِيهِ, the aqd regarding that will become sahih, وَلَزِمَهُ ذَلِكَ الشَّهْرُ, and that particular month will become lazim on him. All the way until the next month, and the landlord can't kick him out. He can't evict him. And then if he stays 1 hour into March, like let's say the March the 1st starts, then it becomes sahih for March. Okay, and like that. So for all the way down. So on the onset, it's considered to be fasid. It becomes sahih when he actually stays in there. So he says, وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لِلْمُوجِرِ, it's not valid for the leaser, أَنْ يُخْرِجَهُ مِنْهَا, to evict this guy, إِلَى أَنْ يَنْقَضِيَ, until it expires, the month expires. Basically the 30th or 31st. وَكَذَلِكَ حُكْمُ كُلِّ شَهْرٍ, and likewise is the ruling of every month, يَسْكُنْ فِي أَوَّلِهِ, in which he stays in the beginning, يَوْمًا, one day, or a moment, سَاعَةً, or a moment. Okay? And that's basically it. So let's just recap. Let's see if you guys have understood this. All right. So, if a man was to say to a tailor, if you were to sew this cloth and you made it into a Persian style clothing, I'll give you 1 dirham. And if you do it in a Roman style, I'll give you 2 dirhams. Is this jaiz? We say yes, it's jaiz. Why is it jaiz for? Because he's offered him 2 options of what to do, and they're both known. So it's considered to be fine. What if a person was to say, if you were to sew it today, I'll give you 1 dirham, and if you sew it tomorrow, I'll give you half a dirham. Sahibain say it's jaiz, both are jaiz, just like the previous. But Abu Hanifa says the first one goes through as jaiz, the second one is fasid, but he owes him the market rate of sewing that kind of cloth. Make sense? Okay, next one now. What if a person says to a landlord, I want to rent this house of you, and he says in return, if you put in there, if you sell perfume in there, I'll charge you one dirham a month, and if you do 2, I'll charge. Sorry, if you do blacksmith, if you do hard work in there, then I'll charge you 2 a month. Abu Hanifa says both are jaiz, and Sahibain on the other hand, they say both are not jaiz. They don't treat this the same as the previous ones. Okay. And last masala. Okay, let's see if you guys can get this one as well. So if a person was to rent a property and the landlord made the deal 1 dirham per month, the first month, what would the ruling of the first month be? Jaiz. What's the ruling of the remainder? Fasid. Why? Because only 1 month has been agreed upon, the rest have not been agreed, unless the person stipulates all the months that he wants to stay there. Okay, what if he enters into the next month? What happens? So as soon as he enters, a new contract will be made. It's like every time he enters into a new month, a new contract. That becomes sahih then. Sahih. Does that make sense? Khalas. Now these are quite tough maslas, aren't they? Normally, if you study Qudoori, quite tough maslas. But inshallah, you're going to understand them. And when you study Hidayah, they're going to become very easy to understand, because we don't have much time to actually go through the ta'lilat and the hidden sort of like reasonings behind it. Alright guys, Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a blessed week. May Allah bless all of you and your efforts. Thank you to all my patrons who support my channel on a monthly basis. May Allah bless you abundantly with your wealth and your health. Thank you. It means a lot to me, honestly. If any of you guys want to support my channel and become patrons, you can support me my channel by paying £1 a month, $1 a month, whatever you want to pay a month, which helps me to produce these videos, to dedicate time to this, to produce high quality videos as well, as best as I can. So check out details in the bottom. I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.